Hey, hello, and welcome to game 3 of our Släck playthrough, where we are going up against Undead. So I'll just pause it here and just highlight any interesting things about their players. So once this goes away. Okay, so this is a relatively fresh team. They have a skill up here on their ghoul, which they've given catch, and that's about it. So they have obviously they have one mummy. It's a bit of a weird setup. They have one mummy. They have four ghouls. One's on the bench. He'll bring that in a second. Two whites, and the rest are zombies. So very much kind of like running team than it is bashy with just the one mummy. So quite nice for us. Not much block on the team at all, just the two whites. So that'll help us quite a bit. And they're not going to be trying to hit us too much with four ghouls on the bitch. So we're in defense. A fairly typical defensive setup. I'm just trying to make it difficult for the whites to blitz through and the ghouls to run past me. Extra roll is nice. So he's set his team up very conservatively. Goes for the pickup first, which is a bit dangerous, but it works out for him. And then he moves to the right. So to me, this is telling me, okay, well, he's going to cage right here. So what I'm looking for right now is, are you going to put anyone in this square? And he does. So that allows me to now potentially frenzy a surf. So mistake by him there. And that's our cage. So frenzying a surf, not only does it open up the cage, which is great, it'll knock out a white, and the two whites here and the mummy are the three biggest threats to my team at the moment, because they can hit me and I'm armor value 7 and I don't want to be hit. So if I can take a white out on the very first turn, so reroll there used down to 2 now. Yeah, if I can use that, take a white out on my very first turn, that's a huge advantage to me in this half. I'm using the loner, Snore Good Run Narson, to just constantly tie up this mummy, because the mummy is mighty blow. The mummy will hurt me if he constantly gets blocks, but I do want to tie him up there. I don't want the mummy to come over here, so I just stand the loner up and say, okay, hit me again. So now I'm basing the cage. This allows a 2 die on this allows a 2 die on the white. So I needed to base this guy and go in this way. Just real quickly, the reason I based here, I would have got a 2 die here, because dynamic sporadic is strength 4 against a strength 3. But the problem is, once I frenzy up to here and now I'm here, it'll be a 1 die because there's an assist coming from this ghoul from the ball carrier. So I had to put David standing here to make sure that I would get two dies. I rolled a boat down and a skull, and I decided to re-roll it because the potential of getting a white out on turn 1 is too great. So I get the push, and then I get the 2 die again, and I get the defender stumbles. So I'm able to knock a white out on turn 1. So I'm really happy with that. And I've opened up the cage. So because dynamic sporadic was use all his movement, and I would need a GFI to try and get out of a surf, I bring up Peter to make sure that I don't get counter surfed. And then I'm just bringing people around, just trying to tie up where he can go, basically. Okay, so really happy with that half. I try a 1 die works. So I figure I have block. The only thing that's going to screw me on a 1 die is rolling a 1, and even if I did roll a 1, it's not that big a deal. Okay, so our loner takes another hit from the mummy, and this time breaks armor, and he's injured. Okay, so I was hoping for maybe 1 or 2 more turns of taking a few hits, so it's a missed game. That went very quickly. So obviously I don't Apo that because it's a loner. I want to keep my Apos for more important targets. But yeah, I was hoping that my loner would maybe keep him tangled up for a little bit longer, but he didn't. But that's okay. So he's kind of made a little bit of a channel in the center now, if you can kind of see here. And that's a potential area that he can move into. And a blitz on Andrew, I think it was, but he's okay. Just a stun. So yeah, now it's pretty obvious where the cage is coming. It's kind of he's going to try and cage up around here or here, and he chooses here. Okay, so yeah, it just required a 3+ dodge from him, and he has dodge on the piece, so yeah, not too risky. The big problem with this, however, is this cage is based. So Jim here is basing this ghoul. And that's another armor break from Nat, but that's okay. So yeah, this is really dangerous, and you'll see why, right? Because I don't need a blitz to open up his cage now. So I run Peter down. That allows a 2-die block for Jim. I kind of start just moving some pieces down, just to make sure, just in case something goes wrong. Okay, so I roll a Defender Stumbles. That still allows me a 1-die. It would have allowed me a 2-die if I had knocked this guy down, but it still allows me a 1-die. But I think I make a really big mistake here. So I'm moving a lot of pieces, right? And the whole idea is I'm going to try a 1-die blitz. If it fails, I don't want a bunch of pieces stood up here. Get a dub skull, which is unfortunate. Reroll that, so I'm down to 1 reroll. Yeah, I don't want that to... If that fails, I don't want a bunch of pieces up here. But the problem is, right, say if this blitz works, and Cindy makes the blitz, and it does work, I sack the ball carrier, but I don't have anyone to actually do anything with it. Like, not only can I not pick it up, I can't even base the ball. So this is just a straightforward like pickup with no modifiers, because I don't have anyone basing it. So I think that was a huge mistake on my part. I think it was way too cautious, and now he's able to pick it up on a 4+. Now we rolled a 5, so it really wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, I think that was poor on my part. So this is well, I think there's a word for this. The Blood Bowl aficionados that watch this can correct me, but I think this is called like the potato play or the half potato play or something. Basically, it means you make a break for it, and you kind of hope that your opponent messes up, because he can't cage this properly. There's not a hope he can. So he's making a break with it with the white, and he's trying to hope that I can't get to him, or at least if I can get to him, I can't knock him down. Okay, so this is a relatively dangerous position for me. I just need to make the correct blocks to free up some players, and that's what I try to do. So I get a block there, Tim makes the block, and that frees up Jim. I also have Nat free, so I'm going to start now basing some players to try and get some more 2-die blocks. And the idea here was try and make a channel for Jim to run through, so he could base. That didn't work, so now I have to go for the 1-die into a 2-die to try and open the channel for Andra. So Andra has jump up, so that's fine. And now I make the 1-die to try and make another channel for Jim. So that did work. So now I have a channel for Jim and Andra to run through. It required some 1-dies, but it worked out. So Jim is able to base Andra because he's jump up, he has the movement to blitz, and he gets the push. So unfortunately no knockdown, but he does have frenzy, and it's a 2-die, and I get the knockdown. Okay, so I had to try to make the GFI there because I wanted to base this ball, because all it requires is a dodge out and a pick up, and he's in. So I felt like I really needed to base this ball. Fortunately, I rolled a 1 on the GFI. So he rolls the skull there. He goes for a 1-die. I think the idea was to try and free up that ghoul, but I think he made a mistake there. He should have blitzed from here because he could have pushed David up this way, and then he tries to roll a block on Cinny, and he gets a boat down. So yeah, he never actually got the chance to pick it up. So that was lucky for me. I think a little bit risky on the 1-die, but rolling a skull on a 1-die is unfortunate. So now I'm able to make a few 2-die blocks to create a bit of space. Just can't seem to knock those ghouls down. So I'm thinking now, okay, well, where am I going if I can't pick this ball up? And I'm thinking up here, because I have a few players here. So the only threat to me here is this ghoul. So that's why I blitz, and I get the armor break with dynamic sporadic, and now I go for the pickup. and I failed the pickup, and I think I have to re-roll it because it's too dangerous to leave it, and I failed it again. But it's a really nice scatter for me. It's in like 3 tackle zones. He has no one really near that can pick it up. I stunned this ghoul, which is really handy. But still, failing 2 3+ pickups is unfortunate. So opponent tries to 1-die blitz and rolls a boat down, and then rolls a push. So we're both out of rerolls now, so we're into the fun zone. Chooses to follow up there and then dodge out with the other ghoul, but rolled at least 1-1. Rolled a 2 and a 1. Yeah, so his dodge reroll didn't work there. So we're both really struggling to actually do anything with this ball. So yeah, first things first, I need to clear this tackle zone. So Nat makes the blitz the block on the white. Tackle zone's now free. And now I frenzy to try and knock this ghoul down and draw a dub skull. So yeah, not great. We're both just rolling really, really poorly at the moment. The reason I tried a frenzy there was I need a 6 or a 2 to knock him down. And so I thought 2 chances would be better than 1. So he makes the blitz out and he does another 1-die and he pushes me onto the ball. He's trying to now pop this ball out of my tackle zones. Ghoul fails the catch, I fail the catch, and it pops even back further. So again, a really, really nice scatter for me. Then he rolls a boat down, another 1-die. My opponent is making a lot of 1-dies on no rerolls. So this is going to cause a lot of turnovers. So I'm in the same position here again. Oh yeah, sorry, I see the frenzy here, but unfortunately I don't get the surf. But unfortunately I don't get a push. I get a knockdown. So I just have to knock him down. So no surf there. So yeah, I'm in the same position as I was in the last turn. I have to try and pick this ball up and run it up. But now it's getting increasingly less likely that I'm going to score because I only have 3 turns. So I have to actually, get a hustle on now. So I have to knock this white down because it's too easy for him to dodge out and blitz me. And Andrew does get the knockdown, which is great. So my idea here was I have to do a 1-die blitz on this zombie, which I manage. And then I want to back out and that's an injury. So that's David getting an injury on the zombie, which is great. Gives David 2 SVP. So yeah, and then I want to back out and base this white to make sure I don't get a knockdown. Again, throwing a 1-die block here because this ghoul is a potential threat to me. And then trying to dodge out with Cine because I don't want him basing the mummy. It fails, but luckily for me, it's not an armor break. So yeah, I'm in a pretty strong position now. He blitzes with the mummy, so which means the blitz isn't coming on the ball carrier. So at this point, I'm kind of thinking, I have defended this half. That's fine. And now I'm thinking, can I score? Unfortunately, I'm 2 turns away from the end of the half, and Jim only has movement 6, and I've no rerolls for the GFIs. So it is actually a 1-die knockdown here. I mean, and he actually KOs Jaffa. So I mean, he's shown so many 1-dies this game, and it hasn't worked out for him that you can't really begrudge 1 or 2 that do work out for him. Okay, so this is a really good move for my opponent here because my plan was move Striker up here, move Jim up here, and make a pass. But that's a lot more difficult now because he was based, so I just have to try and make the dodge, which I do actually make. And now I'm going to try some hits because the pass is so unlikely to work that I may as well try and get some hits in, see if I can knock down, get some injuries or KOs or whatever. So the reason I based the mummy there is because the mummy was giving an assist to that block and it wouldn't have been 2-die. But it didn't matter, I got the push. So, but that's fine, I have space and I now make the pass and I throw it. And that's actually not too bad. The pass fails, but it scatters up towards their end zone. So that still allows me enough movement for Striker to go pick the ball up and run it in. So my opponent, quite smartly, basing Jim so I can't provide an assist, and then tries to pick it up and fails. He rolled a 1. So now I am a bit of a pickle because I don't have enough assists to get a 2 die here. I'd need to dodge out and blitz, but it would only be a 1 die, or I could just try and pick it up and dodge out. But first things first, I want to try and get as many hits in as possible down here because these are more likely to succeed. I have a go with the mummy. If I can knock this guy out, it'll be absolutely brilliant for the second half. Fortunately, Nat doesn't manage to do so. I mean, it's armor value 9, it's really unlikely. And then the blitz coming in from Dynamic Sporadic. Get the knockdown. No armor breakdown. Okay, so this is a 4+, 3+, and score. Fortunately, I rolled a 1 on the 4+, so it didn't even really get started, and that's the end of the half. Okay, so not like massively important half. I didn't manage to get any injuries. I injured one zombie, I think, but he regened. So my opponent's coming back in with full team. But I do get Jaffa back, which is huge. Obviously, my loner is out, so I have 10 players against their 11. But I successfully defended their drive. So I was really, really happy with that. And I'm kind of thinking, listen, if I get a few armor breaks maybe in this half, I can push in and win a 1-0. And then my opponent does this. Okay, so I actually couldn't believe my luck here with that. So I just want to talk about this really, really quickly. This is a huge mistake as a defensive player. So number one, he moved his ghoul into a frenzy surf. So that's, unless I get unlucky, that's a ghoul gone straight away. So I'll make a 10-10 in my first turn, which is great. The other thing is he's lined 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players on the line of scrimmage. But he's on the defense, so I get to arrange my players to make blocks, and I can 2-die block pretty much everything here except for the mummy. So he's given me so many opportunities to actually break his armor, and not only make it to 10-10 with this ghoul, but perhaps maybe 9-10, 8-10 if I get really lucky with some armor breaks. I do make one mistake here on the line of scrimmage. I should have, so David should be here and Andra should be here because you get frenzy trapped too easily, and you'll see this now coming up. So he kicks, I get another reroll, so that's really nice. Okay, so I do the blitz first because I figure I will reroll this if it doesn't work out. Sorry, I won't reroll this if it doesn't work out. Because I just didn't want to use my rerolls. Didn't work out, but I did get a knockout. So I lucked out there basically. I didn't get the dice that I wanted, but I actually got the same result. Okay, so now I begin my 2-die blocks, and straight away injure. Tim injures a zombie. Tim actually is so lethal in this playthrough. I think he's injured 2 and killed 1, and that levels him up. So that's really nice. So now straight away, which it was a 10 versus 11 half, it's now 10 versus 9. And I still have a lot of 2-die blocks yet to make. So here's I just want to say it real quick. So here's what I'm talking about, right? So I got a 2-die block here because I have an assist here and it's a block here. But because it's Andra and he is frenzy, if I don't get a knockdown, I have to push him up here, and then I lose my 2-die. Then it becomes at best a 1-die. However, if I swapped and I put David here and Andra on the left, it would just be a 2-die. And if I didn't get a knockdown, well, I don't get a knockdown, that's fine, but I don't frenzy trap myself. So that was a mistake on my part, but I get lucky. And I get a defender stumble. No armor break though, but that's okay. Another block here, and then moving to base this zombie to get a 2-die block here. And Jim gets 2-die block on the ghoul and KOs him. So absolutely massive first turn for me. Knocking out 3 players. Sure hands fails. Not having much luck with the old pickups. So rolled a 2 and a 1, needed a 3. But that's okay. I mean, I can't complain about this first half at all. I was absolutely delighted with that first half. So now it's 10 versus 8. So he puts pressure on the ball. I was wondering, would he try the GFIs to base, but he doesn't. I think I would have, to be honest. He's 3 rerolls, and basing this would be quite nice. But he decides to play a bit more cautious. So yeah, I need to be a little bit careful now, because if I fail the next pickup, I'm in trouble. So Striker manages to fend off the mummy with a push, and he tries to blitz, and it's a 1-die blitz. I genuinely don't know why he would do that, but he did, and he wasted a reroll there. And then another 1-die here, which works out for him. Okay, so first things first, I need to deal with this ghoul. He's a massive threat, and I didn't really know how to do it, because actually, if you look at the way I'm set up, I don't actually have a 2-die blitz on him that's safe. I would have had a 2-die blitz with Jaffa, but it's a 2-die blitz with Frenzy with no block, so I was really afraid of doing it. So what I opted to do instead was just base and cover with Dynamic Sporadic, and then try and pick it up with Cine, which worked. So Peter gets the stun. So I try a 1-die here. The idea being, if I can get a 1-die on this zombie, then it opens up the block on this mummy here. And I need to actually knock these guys down, because these 2 pieces are tying up 3 of my pieces. So I need to try and do something with that. But I rolled a dub skull, unfortunately. But I had Cine far enough away from the white. I made sure that the white couldn't blitz him without rolling a GFI. So my opponent decides not to do it, and then he does really something very strange. So he blitzes with the zombie. So it requires 2 GFIs, which he makes, and then goes into a 1-die. Whereas if he went out this way and blitzed, it would have been a 2-die and a much easier dodge with the ghoul, which he actually does in the end and makes it. But so I think my opponent missed that. But the 1-die doesn't work out for him. He pushes, and Cine is still in control of the ball, but obviously surrounded by players. So even though I'm up on players, it doesn't feel like it now, and it's primarily because of this mummy and what he's doing to these guys here. 1-die on Peter, and it actually injures Peter, so not great, but it's just a badly hurt, so I don't appo that. So now it is 9-8. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here now is base this ghoul and blitz out with Cine, because if I can knock him down, I can run Cine up here, and I can start to cover up here. Unfortunately, again, I just don't get the knockdown in the ghoul, so I just have to push him, and now I have to try and cage here. But obviously, really dangerous cage, because my ball carrier is based. So it's not a cage at all. It's I don't know what it is, but it's not good. But on the bright side, this ghoul is in surf territory now. And then all of a sudden, Andra just kills a white. Now, he does regen because it doesn't go into a cutscene, but that is just so handy. So, and another half where I've knocked out one of his whites. And now trying to get away from the mummy. This mummy is just doing so much work. Again, stopping Striker from dodging out, and again, keeping 3 of my pieces tied up here. But that's huge from Andra. Killing another white is just so useful. Now he is only 1 player on the team again that has block. So that's just really useful. So it doesn't decide to. I would thought maybe he might try and dodge out perhaps and try the blitz here, or the block here, but no, it doesn't work out. He tries another 1-die on my players, and this time it actually doesn't work. Finally, he had a few 1-dies in a row there, which was working for him, so he eventually failed him. So now I blitz with Cine because I want to surf this ghoul. So I push him up here, get him ready for the surf, and now I'm able to run Cine up. So before I try the surf, I want to try and protect, make sure Cine is protected, and I kind of do a half cage, using the sideline as the kind of the left side. So Tim, I think it is, yeah, Tim and I think this is Striker, yeah, eventually get away from the mummy and are able to base players here, so I can get a few more blocks in. And now I start throwing some blocks. So now I'm starting to, you can probably see this now, my numbers are really starting to actually matter now that I've been able to get people away from this mummy. And then I get another surf here. Jaffa surfs the ghoul. Actually KOs him, so I actually didn't need the surf in the end, but still. So that's another ghoul gone. So we are, I think they're down to 7 now. Let me just count. Ooh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they're into 6. And I've what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9. So it's 9 versus 6. So it's at this point I'm thinking, okay, unless something goes terribly, terribly wrong, I'm okay here. So he tries a 2-die uphill, and gets a push. And I'm thinking, you don't want to go, like, come on, you need to learn about frenzy. But he decides to put his player there anyway. And then he moves his white up. And now I sense a very good surf. So he tries another 1-die, doesn't work out for him. So, maybe just to explain this a little bit, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to frenzy this ghoul. I'm trying to push him into this space so I can surf the white, and then the frenzy continues and I can surf the ghoul. So the way I do that is, it's actually really straightforward. I just need to put a player in this position. What makes it a little bit tricky is I actually have no one that can get into this position without making a roll. So this guy would have to dodge out. David would have to dodge out. Tim would have to make a GFI. So what stops that is if I can knock that zombie down. So that's because that takes a tackle zone away from here. So Tim's able to just run up here and stand here. So that's the first thing I try. I base using Jaffa. I'm just really, really cautious of using frenzy players without block. And actually, if you see the rolls, I was quite happy that I did that. And now that gives me a free run into here. And now here comes the frenzy. So I get a push. That's the white gone. And I get another push, and that's the ghoul gone. So Andra has just surfed 2 players in one block. So now they're down to, was it 4? And the game's over. So what, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they've nobody left. So now I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to score. So who do I want to score with? And I start clicking around and seeing, well, who's... I rolled another dub skull. Yeah, actually, like, this has been a fairly comfortable game, but I don't think I actually rolled that well in this game. I think this is my 3rd dub skull in a row. Not in a row, sorry. My 3rd dub skull of the game. So yeah, now I'm thinking, okay, well, okay, Nat takes a block here from the Mighty Blow, and he's okay. Mummy is terrifying. So so who do I want to score with? And I start clicking around, and David's on 2. I don't want to score with Cine because he's just scored. Tim's already leveled up. And I click on Andra, and he's on 5 out of 6. So if Andra scores, he'll level up. So that's what I try and set up for. So throw more blocks, trying to get some more SPP. Dynamic Sporadic does get more SPP. This guy is an absolute killer. Putting him up to, what's that, 9 SPP now? Yeah. And now I try and make the pass. It's a 3+ catch, which I roll a 1, re-roll it, and make the catch. Okay, so Andra is now safe to score. And the plan is do it on turn 16. I've knocked out an absolute shit ton of his players, and he has a bunch of subs as well, because I've surfed the white. So I don't want any of them coming back. Okay, so yeah, another mistake here. I messed this up. I frenzied, and I got a 2-die in the frenzy, but then I pushed him into a 1-die. So still, I'm not getting that frenzy down properly. I know how to do it, but I'm just not concentrating. So now he moves his zombie up. He has to make a few GFIs, but I mean, there's very, very little he can do right now. And Jim pays the price for my messed up frenzy, and he gets knocked out. Mighty Blow doing a thing. And he dodges out with a zombie and a 5. Oh, it's a 4+, actually. Okay, so he's obviously trying to pressure with the zombies. This guy's absolutely no threat whatsoever. He's not going to make it up in time, but this guy is. So I need to... So I move Andrew up, so it's a GFI. If something goes terribly wrong here, it's a GFI for the zombie. But yeah, my first priority is I have a reroll here. I'm going to blitz this guy, and I'm going to make sure that he can't get to Andra. And that's fine. Blitz works out. David knocks him down. And now my next priority is let's try and hurt this mummy. So this time I actually do the frenzy properly. I base the players in such a way that when the frenzy, if it doesn't work out, I get another 2-die. Jaffa makes the blitz, or makes the block, gets a push, and you can see the 2-die actually works this time, and it actually gave me a POW. But no knockdown. Or sorry, no armor break. Basis zombie just cause. I don't actually plan on doing any blocks next turn. I just want to score with Andra. So he tries the one die blitz, which doesn't work out for him. I think even if he did get a knockdown there, he couldn't reach Andra. I'm pretty sure he's too far back at this point. And now I just score. I feel I do have one more reroll, but I feel like leveling up Andra is really important, and it's the winning touchdown. So okay, so 2 injured players, and I do get a KO back. I think I forgot to say I did buy a Babe. I had 50k inducements in this game, and I bought a Babe. So the Babe actually has worked out really well for me. And he gets a bunch of players back. So yeah, so I just protect against the one turn here. Unfortunately my loner is injured, so I can't sacrifice the loner to the line of scrimmage. So I'm clicking around here finding who are my 3 least important players, and they turn out to be Striker, Jim, and Nat, all who are on 0 SPP. So just I can't fully protect the one turn because I still have just 10 people on the pitch, but I do my best. And then it's up to him now. Just kind of hope that these 3 guys are okay. Kick comes in, and I get another reroll this turn. So I gotten very lucky on the kickoff events. We've had 3 kickoffs in this game, and I've got an extra reroll every time. And that was actually huge for me in the first half. It wasn't so important in the second half because I actually didn't use all my rerolls. But in the first half, I used 3 rerolls. I only start with 2, so it's that actually worked out really well for me. Obviously, this doesn't matter at all. Any kickoff result is a good kickoff result as long as it's not a riot. So Striker survives the first knockdown, and he rolls a skull and a boat down. So that's really unfortunate. Striker manages to knock him down, and that's the end of the game. And Striker, for that surviving that last line of scrimmage attack, gets the MVP. So yeah, I was happy with that. I actually think you can see here, I didn't roll well, and I still managed to comfortably win. So I was actually really happy with that. My opponent, I don't think, rolled well either. I think his dice is actually good, but I haven't checked this. Yeah, his block dice is terrible. So that's where he kind of got a bit unlucky on. My block dice was pretty good. So yeah, that's the kind of story of the game. I rolled really poorly on the 6 die and the d6. He rolled really poorly on the block die. But yeah, I was kind of really happy with that. And we have 2, I think, at least leveled ups. Yeah, Andra and Tim. Oh, sorry, I meant to say I rolled a 1 into a 1 on the winnings, so we're still only at 90k. Right, so yeah, Berserker. Let's see what he rolls. Oh, sugar. Shit. Okay, so for Berserkers, what I wanted to do was roll a mighty blow. Berserkers need to be the kill pieces. Shit now. How good is agility on a Berserker? I mean, it turns me into 4 agi, and obviously 4 agi is really nice, but if he's like the kill piece, oh, that's okay. Hold on, I need to think about that. Let's see what Tim rolled. Okay, it's more straightforward. Tim gonna be our dirty player, maybe. So you want a dirty player as Norse, because you're a bashy team and you're going to come up against teams that just have more armor than you, and in order to win the bash war, you're going to have to fail. So Tim is going to be our dirty player. Okay. So yeah, what the hell do we do with Andra? Do you know what? I'll leave it up to you guys. Um, yeah, I'm actually going to leave it up to you. So the choices here, uh, obviously the plus agi, and then that changes his role. Then that changes him into like more of a ball carrying player, more of a scoring threat. It will be handy still on like dodging out to make blitzes and such. So yeah, still pretty handy, but it does change his role. Whereas you give him Mighty Blow, he follows a much more straightforward, like Mighty Blow piling on Berserker, and he just goes to kill things. So yeah, it's really between Mighty Blow and Agility +1. One thing I will say is, we do have another Berserker on 5 out of 6, so Peter might level up next game, get a standard roll, and then Peter becomes a kill piece. And 2 kill pieces is nice, but maybe one kill piece and one agility piece is better. So yeah, I'll leave it up to you guys. You decide. I'll pick whichever gets the most amount of votes. But yeah, that's been game 3. I hope you really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed playing it. So thanks very much. Bye.